Imad, Panya, Jerusalem. Santa Fe, Jerusalem. Blessing of the Sabbath. Purim. Barakata Yahweh.
Barakata Yahweh.
Ba'asham.
Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Asherah.
Asherah.
Nathalanawa.
Nathalanawa.
Ha. Hararim.
Hararim.
Ba'shalawam.
Ba'shalawam.
Tawada.
Tawada.
Aman.
Aman.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that give to us their Purim in peace. Thank you, so be it. Psalm 121. The Ilam, Maha, Asharim, Akkad. Anya, Harayam, Ayim Ya, Al, Ahariam, Mahayan, Yabawa'a, Isaiah, Yabawa'a, Mayahawa, Shasha, Shamayam, Waratiza, La'a, Yonathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Yanawum, Shashamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawum, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shashamar, Yasharella, Yahawa, Shamaria, Yahawa, Tazaria, Ayam, Yad, Yamyanya, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'a, Hakaya, Wayrak, La'a, Balayala, Yahawa, Yashamaria, Makal, Rai, Yashamar, Napashia, Yahawa, Yashamar, Kabalakia, Wabaya, Maitha, Wa'id, Iwalam, Ba'asham, Yahawashi, Tawada, Aman. Read Psalms 121.
Psalm 121. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore.
Amen.
Amen.
Hear, Israel, Shema Yasharallah. Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allahayinawa, Yahweh, Akkad. Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allahayinawa, Yahweh, Akkad. Shammai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allahayinawa, Yahweh, Akkad. Deuteronomy 6 and 4.
Can we read it?
Yes.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart.
That's it. That's 6 and 4.
Oh, yeah.
The Lord's Prayer, Yahweh Tapah. Abiyanawa.
Abiyanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Haya.
Haya.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakwatka.
Malakwatka.
Taba'ah.
Taba'ah.
Ratizawanka.
Ratizawanka.
Haya.
Haya.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Baratiza.
Baratiza.
Ka.
Ka.
Bashamayim.
Bashamayim.
Natananawa.
Natananawa.
Lakum.
Lakum.
Yawum.
Yawum.
Za.
Za.
Wasalakhlanawa.
Wasalakhlanawa.
Kawawatinawa.
Kawawatinawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kawawat.
Kalawat.
Yanawa.
Yanawa.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Abiyanawa.
Abiyanawa.
Al.
Al.
Nasayawan.
Nasayawan.
Abal.
Abal.
Awashainor.
Awashainawa.
Marai.
Marai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwat.
Hamalakwat.
Waha.
Waha.
Allah.
Allah.
Waha.
Waha.
Sapa.
Sapa.
Arat.
Arat.
Lawaiwalam.
Lawaiwalam.
Aman.
Aman.
Matthew 6 and 9.
Matthew 6 and 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Ha'aishara matazawat, the 10 Commandments. La'ah, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayim, Akarim, Apanya, La'ah, Taisha, Laka, Pasal, Wala'ah, Raibadam, La'ah, Talakwatrat, Shamwa, Yahweh, Alahayaka, Lashawa, Zakar, At, Hayawam, Hashabat, Lakodashwa, Kabad, Abaka, Wa'amaka, La'ah, Taratizak, La'ah, Tana'ah, La'ah, Taganab, La'ah, Taina, Shakur, La'ah, Sakamad, Kal, Asherah, Laraika, Aman. Exodus 20 and 2.
Exodus 20 and 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Yeah, keep reading. Keep reading down.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. But the Sabbath day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy maidservant, nor thy maidservant, the manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear the false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is in thy neighbor's. That is thy neighbor's. What's that?
Amen.
Amen.
You shall be seated. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahushai, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Harya, Hakapan, Tawada, Aman, La, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Yasha'ala. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that give to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it, to Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, with Israel. Imad Panya Jerusalem. Stand and face Jerusalem. Barakata Yahweh.
Barakata Yahweh.
Hagadol.
Hagadol.
Rakawam.
Rakawam.
Abiyar.
Abiyar.
Wanara'ah.
Wanara'ah.
Ailewan.
Ailewan.
Malak.
Malak.
Shah.
Shah.
Shamayam.
Shamayam.
Waratizah.
Waratizah.
Wakal.
Wakal.
Dabarim.
Dabarim.
Kayayam.
Kayayam.
Wagam.
Wagam.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Mayahawa.
Mayahawa.
Hadawanawa.
Kalawanawa.
Ahabnawa.
Ahabnawa.
Hapala.
Hapala.
Yawaitizah.
Yawaitizah.
Yahawashi.
Yahawashi.
Zakarnawa.
Zakarnawa.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bartazawan.
Bartazawan.
Imka.
Imka.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Izarnawa.
Azarnawa.
Bana.
Bana.
Wasap.
Wasap.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Al.
Al.
Nanawa.
Nanawa.
Yamyan.
Yam.
Aitha.
Aitha.
Kayawam.
Kayawam.
Yam.
Yam.
Makodam.
Munkodom.
Babakasha.
Babakasha.
Shalak.
Shalak.
Ma'aka Allah.
Ma'aka Allah.
Watazawadak.
Watazawadak.
Alahayam.
Alahayam.
La.
La.
Magunnawa.
Magunnawa.
Rapannawa.
Rapannawa.
Washamor.
Washamor.
Alnawa.
Alnawa.
Baikor.
Baikor.
Shalak.
Shalak.
Haroka.
Haroka.
Shah.
Shah.
Yahawashi.
Yahawashi.
Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Lalamadnawa.
Alamadnawa.
Rabiam.
Rabiam.
Kakama.
Kakama.
Tabawana.
Tabawana.
Wada'ait, Shal, Tabarka, Basham, Yahawashai, Tawada, Tamyad, Waiwalam, Aman. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth, and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counsel, Yahweh Shai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel most high. We beg you, right now, like the days of old, please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahweh to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahweh, thank you always and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh that give to us the law. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Hathawara. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh that give to us the light to see. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Awar, Larawat. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh that give to us the ram's horn to call the people. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Asherah, Nathalanawa, Koran, Ayah, Lapora, Ha'im. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh that give to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barakata Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Asherah, Nathalanawa, Hashaman, Zayat, Lamashak, Yasher Allah. Yashaba, be seated. Let's straighten this out a little bit. Might get the blinds. Okay, thought I lost. Apocrypha, Esther chapter 14, verse 1. Queen Esther, Queen Esther also, being in fear of death, resorted unto the Lord. Yeah, if you have the red Apocrypha book. Yeah, in the Apocrypha. If you have the red one, go to page 56. Okay. Everybody got it? Let me read the first verse again. Esther in the Apocrypha, chapter 14, verse 1. Queen Esther, also being in fear of death, resorted unto the Lord and laid away her glorious apparel and put on the garments of anguish and mourning. And instead of precious ointments, she covered her head with ashes and dung. And she humbled her body greatly, and all the places of her joy she filled with her torn hair. And she prayed unto the Lord God of Israel, saying, O my Lord, thou only art our king. Help me, desolate woman, which have no helper but thee. So even if you read Psalms 121, we read earlier, my help coming from the Most High. So they decked her out in the Persian garments and things like that, and she took all of that stuff off because she's thinking about her life and her people, which are the children of Israel. All right. Verse 4, for my danger is in mine hand. From my youth up I have heard in the tribe of my family, which is the tribe of Benjamin, which I am from. Yes, that thou, O Lord, tookest Israel from among all people and our fathers from all their predecessors for perpetual inheritance. And thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise them. So in the past, the Most High promised us the land of Israel, and he gave it to us. So whatever the Most High promised to say he will do it, Most High did it in the past, and he's gonna do it, and he's doing things for us now, since we're coming back to the Lord's statutes and commandments. Allowing us to worship and things like that, and he's gonna do it in the future of taking us back to our homeland, Israel. Purim. Yeah, casting lots. You're gonna see it later on. Verse 6. And now we have sinned before thee, therefore hast thou given us into the hands of our enemies. So whenever we sin with the Most High, as a nation, the Most High put us in captivity. And put us in captivity. Right now we're in captivity. We're a nation in exile because we have sinned against the Most High. Verse 7, because we worship their gods, O Lord, thou art righteous. So the Most High is righteous for doing things to us, to punish us and things like that, like our parent, a righteous parent would chastise the children. you know, and correct them. So not like you could just run wild and do everything under the Most High correct us as a nation. Verse 8. Nevertheless, it satisfied them not that we are in bitter captivity. She's talking about a captivity here. Captivity that we're in, because how they got Esther, they, you know, they send men out there to, grab up, virgins, women, and to make the king, to make the king a queen. So she had no choice. They took her up.
Who grabbed the
No, at her horse, he sent men out there to grab somebody suitable for him as a queen.
for the king?
Yeah, because Queen Vashti, she was in exile. They put her in exile because she refused to come to the king, and so he sent her away.
Oh, okay.
He made her an example. So, Esther is his queen.
Heard about that.
So we're in captivity. But they have stricken hands with their idols, that they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth has obtained, has ordained, and destroy thine inheritance, and stop the mouth of them that praise thee, and quench the glory of thy house and of thine altar, and open the mouths of the heathen to set forth the praises of the idols, and to magnify, afflict the king forever. O Lord, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing. So when you read, let's make a reference quick to when you read Isaiah 40 and 17, it says that all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity.
Isaiah 40:17.
Yes, Isaiah 40 and 17.
That goes with
Yeah.
11.
14.
We were 10 and 9.
14 and 11. So these nations are nothing to the Most High, but they are over us. Verse 11 again. O Lord, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing, and let them not laugh at our fall, but turn their device upon themselves, and make him an example that had begun this against us. So this is Haman making a decree to wipe us out and make it turn against us, against them. Haman is a Edomite that have a hatred towards our people. Yeah, he will be a so-called white.
He was second in command.
The king, I have heard to the king. Verse 12. Remember, O Lord, make thyself known in time of our affliction, and give me boldness, O King of the nations, and Lord of all power. Yeah, she's talking to the Most High. Give me eloquent speech in my mouth before the lion. Turn his heart to hate us. No. Verse 13. Give me eloquent speech in my mouth before the lion. Turn his heart to hate him that fighteth against us, that there may be an end of him, this is Haman, and of all that are like-minded to him, those in cahoots with him. You say?
He asking God for help.
Yeah, she's asking the Most High for help because the Most High is our help. That's how we're reading in Psalms 121. The Most High is our help. So she's praying to the Most High. She's humbling herself and praying to the Most High.
Yes.
Yes.
But he asked now God for help.
He wanted to wipe us out.
I think he asking the king to hate Haman. Is he asking that?
No, she's praying against Haman.
Right.
Because the king, that's his right hand man, I think.
She's
like
saying
that.
turn his heart to hate him that fighteth against us. So I think she's telling the king, she's telling God to turn the king's heart against Haman. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, to make an end of
So
him.
Right.
The king is the woman.
No. Esther is married to the king.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
she's the queen.
Oh, yeah, good. That was the first part. The second part.
Yeah,
Right.
because as you see that she invited the king to the feast.
Haman.
Because the king is in charge.
Haman is second in charge. Right. He hates us.
Because once she in good standing, I mean, she's the queen, but give the king understanding to know that Haman want to destroy her and her people because she didn't tell him who she is.
Right.
But she prayed to the Lord that the king might hate Haman.
Okay.
Because Haman hates us.
Yeah, because for the eloquent speech, so she can tell the king the right word, so he can execute judgment upon Haman. Verse 14, but deliver us with thine hand, and help me that am desolate, and which have no other helper but thee. Thou knowest all things, O Lord. Thou knowest that I hate the glory of the unrighteous, and abhor the bed of the uncircumcised, and of all the heathen. Thou knowest my necessity, for I abhor the sight of my high estate, which is upon mine head in the days wherein I show myself, and that I abhor it as a menstruous rag, and that I wear it not when I am private by myself. So when she's private by herself, she take off the Persian garments, because she knows her nationality is Israelite, but she have on a Persian outfit and things like that. That's not her. And that thine handmaid had not eaten at Haman's table, and that I have not greatly esteemed the king's feast. So these nations, when they have their feast, they eat all kind of things too, and they sacrifice to their gods and so on and so forth. Nor drunk the wine of the drink offerings, so they offer to their gods, and she said she didn't participate in that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, think of it now that we know who we are in this captivity. Those who know who they are, we want to participate in their Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and all that stuff. It's not us. Verse 18, neither had thine handmaid any joy since the day that I was brought hither to this present, but in thee, O Lord God of Abraham. O thou mighty God, above all, hear the voice of the forlorn, and declare and deliver us out of the hands of the mischievous, and deliver me out of my fear. So going to verse chapter 15 now. And upon the third day, when she had ended her prayer, she laid away her mourning garments and put on her glorious apparel. She's a queen. And being gloriously adorned, after she had called upon God, who is the beholder and savior of all things, she took two maids with her, and upon the one she leaned as carrying herself daintily. She's the queen. And the other followed, bearing up her train. Verse 5. And she was ruddy through the perfection of her beauty, and her countenance was cheerful and very amiable, but her heart was in anguish for fear. Verse 6. Then having passed through all the doors, she stood before the king, who sat upon his royal throne and was clothed with all his robes of majesty, all glittering with gold and precious stones, and he was very dreadful. So, how he was king, he was fearful. You just can just come up to him and things like that. So, the men fear him. Verse 7. Then lifting up her countenance that shone with majesty, she looked very fiercely.
They lifted up his countenance, people.
Then lifted up his countenance that shone with majesty. He looked very fiercely upon her. So he looked at her, he saw her, and the queen fell down and was pale and fainted and bowed herself upon the head of the maid that went before her. So she appeared frail, but she had her two maids with her. Verse 8. Then God changed the spirit of the king into mildness, who in a fear leaped from his throne and took her in his arms. So the Most High changes heart, because you just couldn't just come and see him like that. Even if she's the queen, she can't just walk up and come to him like that, So the Most High changed that till she came to herself again and comforted her with loving words and said unto her, Esther, what is the matter? I am thy brother. Be of good cheer. So he spake kind words to her. Thou shalt not die. Through our commandment be general, come near. So she not, because you can't just go to him like that, because it's death. So he told her that she's not going to die. And so he held up his golden scepter and laid it upon her neck. So he put out the scepter and put it on her neck. The scepter is a staff. Yeah, sometimes the king has a scepter and a staff, and he was saying like go or do this and thing like that. It's scepter what he has.
It's a long piece like a staff.
Yeah.
He has a golden scepter that's him. Sometimes he probably said like ways the scepter like that, execute him,
Right.
or bring him here to me, things like that.
To the pit of misery.
Yeah. Laid upon her neck, and verse 12, and embraced her and said, Speak unto me. Then said she unto him, I saw thee, my Lord, as an angel of God, and my heart was troubled for fear of thy majesty. For wonderful art thou, Lord, and thy countenance is full of grace. So she speak to him in a proper tone, and she kind of bigging him up, or respectfully to him. Verse 15. And as she was speaking, she fell down for faintness. Then the king was troubled, and all his servants comforted her. So it's focused on her, not to comfort her,
Right.
They're focused on Esther now. So we're going to in the regular Bible now, we're going into Esther 5:1.
5:1, right?
Yeah, 5:1. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house, and the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. Verse 2. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So, like I said, he held it out for her, that it is okay. She can come up. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter, because he granted to her. He sent it out, and she touched the top of it. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom. So he's saying, half of his kingdom she'll give it to him. What is our problem? What is our request? Verse 4. And Esther answered, If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther had said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Yeah, she made a banquet for the king and Haman, So Haman feel good about himself. Yeah. And the king said unto, verse 6, and the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed. Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king had said. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up. So Haman is happy, Wow, he's eating with the king. Yes. Yeah. So like one of the movies, they say that everybody's like bowing down to Haman, bowing down to him, and just in the movie they have Mordecai like this to him, I'm not bowing down to him. Who is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not gonna bow down to him. And who is he?
Oh, he wouldn't bow down.
Yeah.
Esau's spirit.
He would get upset.
Yeah. Trying to kill all of this.
Oh.
But he been moved out of the whip, but he didn't get the foot back.
Right.
So I was going to read Proverbs 21. Proverbs 21 and 1. Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Most High change the king's heart and make it pleasing towards Esther.
That's what she got to thank for. King, King Haman.
Yeah, verse 9 again. Then went Haman forth that day, joyful and with a glad heart. So he's having a banquet with the king and the queen, you know, that's a good thing for him. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai. Because everybody gave, Haman all his reverence, but Mordecai is like, no way, I ain't gonna give him all that props. He's a proud man. He's already full of pride. Verse 10. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh his wife. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. So he feels good about himself. He's eating with the king and drinking with the queen. Verse 12. Haman said, moreover, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared, but myself, and tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king. So he said, wow, I ate with the king and the queen, Queen Esther prepared it, and tomorrow I'm going to another banquet. He feels good about himself. Verse 13, yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai, the Jew, sitting at the king's gate. So he's focusing on Mordecai. Only he's having his little glory, eating with the king and queen. He's seen Mordecai, and it just like irked his spirit. When you read Ezekiel chapter 35, the perpetual hatred.
Ezekiel?
Yeah, Ezekiel 35. So they have a perpetual hatred.
35 and what?
35. and 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. 35 and 5. Verse 14. Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made. So he set up the gallows, the hanging gallows to hang Mordecai, because he's eating with the king and the queen, and he feels good about himself. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the books of records of the chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, what honor and dignity had been done to Mordecai for this? So what was done for Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, there is nothing done for him. So nothing was done for Mordecai for helping the king, saving the king's life. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servants said unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? So he's thinking about himself. Yeah, he's not thinking about Mordecai. Thinking about himself, because he's eating with the king and the queen. Queen Esther made a banquet, and they're eating, and he feels good about himself. So like I say, he's a proud man. Yeah, he got a proud spirit with him. Yeah, I was looking for something saying that he's a proud man. So he's thinking about himself. Verse 7, and Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor, let the royal apparel be brought, which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most honorable princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighted to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighted to honor. So he's telling how the king should honor this person. So he's thinking about himself. Verse 10, then the king said unto Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai, the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate, let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. So this kind of broke his spirit. Verse 11, then took Haman the apparel and the horse and arrayed Mordecai and brought him on horseback through the street of the city and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman haste to his house mourning and having his head covered. Yeah, it's mourning because he thought it was him, and it's like, man, he's in shame, and he like cover his head and mourning and run home. You know, run home to his wife. Probably go home and hug up his wife. Oh, Mordecai. So he's in shame. So the person who, when they said Mordecai didn't respect him or anything like that, is the same as the Mordecai not gonna bow them. Mordecai is gonna be exalted, and he put the base. Verse 13. And Haman told Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him. So you're not going to prevail against Mordecai because, you know, Mordecai is exalted and you're done for. Oh man.
You realize he can't do nothing to Mordecai now?
Yeah, he can't do anything to Mordecai. When he saw Mordecai didn't respect him like everybody else, bow down to him and respect him. Now he can't even touch Mordecai now. Verse 14, and while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hastened to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared. So they bring Haman to the banquet. So he's like, okay, he probably still having favor with the king and the queen because he's having a banquet. Right. Although Haman get his props, his respect and things like that, he's still having, Haman is still having a feast with the king and the queen. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. So they come together. It's like, wow, I'm still in favor with the king. I'm eating with the king.
Right.
Verse 2, and the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed even to the half of the kingdom. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. So she's asking the king for her life and her people. So, he's hearing this thing, that, that's his queen. Right. So verse 4, for we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he that durst presume in his heart to do so? So it's like, who's gonna do so to you and your people? Who is it gonna do this? You're my queen. Who's gonna do this?
Right.
And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. So he got terrified on Haman because she said his Haman is the one. So besides he's a base. He's not in the position of Mordecai.
Mhm.
And the queen say, is Haman, he's sitting here, eating with us.
Right.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make requests for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. So
Right.
he's going to Esther now,
Beg her forgiveness.
Verse 8, then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed where Esther was. So he's leaning on Esther's bed.
Yeah.
It's like that's his queen. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
Mhm.
So, that's his queen. It's like he's gonna force, the king's hand by, begging the queen.
Right.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face, and so they brown bag him. Back in the day when they hung Saddam Hussein, or try to plead or beg or something. But when they were hanging our people, they just hang us like that. No brown bagger. They just hang us there and just watch us die like that. They had a banquet.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
That's
like
another
that.
story.
Yeah.
And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
Hanging.
Hang him there. So he's setting a trap for Mordecai to kill Mordecai, but the own trap, he fell into his own ditch, his own trap.
Right.
The king said, hang him there. So they hang Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. So
Mhm.
they hang Mordecai. I mean, what am I saying? They hang Haman. Okay.
Hang.
They hang Haman for what is, wanted to do and stuff like that. He set that gallows for Mordecai. So
Right.
they hang Haman. So the king wrath was satisfied with that.
Mhm. We're pacified.
Yeah, it was satisfied, pacified with it.
We satisfied.
Yeah, it says right here, pacified. He was satisfied with it. So I'll get rid of the evil, which is Haman, you know, after that black bag him and stuff and hang him, that wicked Haman. Verse 8, on that on that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemies, unto Esther the queen, and Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her. So, Mordecai came and told that, that they're relatives.
He told me that they were related, right?
Yeah. Verse 2, and the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman. So he took that, hey, Haman is dead now. Take that ring off. You ain't got use for that. Took it off and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman. So,
Right. He became second.
yeah. Verse 3, and Esther spake yet again before the king and fell down at his feet and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman, the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews. Then the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king. So he put out his scepter, and Esther came and stood before him and said, "If it please the king, and if I had found favor in his sight, and the thing seem right before the king, and I be pleasing into his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in the king's provinces. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people?" So, the decree is still out there. Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? So, the decrees out there is like certain things, the president or certain people make a decree out there and it's out there. So although the person is dead, they have to still carry it out. Verse 7, then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen and to Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring, may no man reverse. So what Haman had written, he couldn't reverse it because it's gonna go out there, it's gonna to be executed. Verse 9, then were the king's scribes called at that time in the 3rd month, that is the month Sivan, on the 3 and 20th day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews, and to the lieutenants, and the deputies, and rulers of the provinces, which are from India unto Ethiopia, and 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horseback, and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries. Verse 11.
What dromedary? Mules, camels,
Can you look it up?
Maybe some form of transportation.
We're talking about the camels first. Horseback, riders, mules, camels, and young dromedary. That they can ride on his back.
Messengers. No dromedary.
It says, and an Arabian one hump camel, especially one of light and swift breed trained for riding or racing. Is a one hump.
The one hump camel.
Yeah, it is light and it's tread for racing,
Oh, okay.
for riding or racing. So they use that, to quickly.
That's a racing camel.
Yeah. Verse 11, so that I have to quickly put that decree out there, and send to our people. Because they can't reverse it. So, verse 11, to get it swift. Like back then, people had to have letters and, with the seal and send it out, actual letters. No, it's just lightning speed. Yeah. Verse 11, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish all the power of the people and the province that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for prey. So you have to fight, because the decree went out to destroy them. So, they were going to just stay back and let them just destroy them. So you have to pick up, weapons or whatever, and to fight back. Verse 12, upon one day in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar. Going back to the Apocrypha, chapter 16. It says right here, placed in the Greek after chapter 8, 12. Chapter 16 and 1. Yeah, the Apocrypha, page 57. The great king Artaxerxes, upon the princes and the governors of 127 provinces from India unto Ethiopia, and unto all our faithful subjects, greeting. So even now we think about from India to Ethiopia, that's a big, vast amount of land and people. Greetings, verse 2. Many the more often they are honored with the great bounty of their gracious princes, and more proud they are waxen, and endeavor to hurt not our subjects only, but not being able to bear abundance, do take in hand to practice also against those that do them good, and take not only thankfulness away from among men, but also lifted up with the glorious words of lewd persons that were never good. They think to escape the justice of God, that seeth all things and hated evil. Oftentimes also fair speech of those that are put in trust to manage their friends' affair hath caused many that are in authority to be partakers of innocent blood, and had enwrapped them in remediless calamities, beguiling with the falsehood and deceit of their lewd disposition the innocency and goodness of princes. Now ye may see this, as we have declared, not so much by ancient histories as yet, as ye may, if ye search what had been wickedly done of late through the pestilent behavior of them that are unworthy, placed in authority. So that was Haman. And we must take care for the time to come that our kingdom may be quiet and peaceable for all men, both by changing our purposes and always judging things that are evident with more equal proceeding. For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood, saying that he's a different race. He's a so-called white, so-called Edomite. He's not a Persian blood.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Is that for up here?
No, so Haman. So,
Still talking about him.
hmm? Yeah, it's talking about Haman. For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood. So he's not Persian.
Okay.
He's an Edomite, so-called white.
All right.
Yeah, they always want to come up. They're always looking to come up and far distance from our goodness, and as a stranger received of us. Had so far for obtained the favor that we showed towards every nation, as that he was called our Father, and that was continually honored of all men as the next person unto the king. So he was the second in line, yeah, second in command. That's why he was able to set out that decree to try to wipe out the Jews. But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life, having by manifold and cunning deceits sought of us the destruction, as well of Mordecai, which is Mordecai, who saved our life, he saved the king's life, and continually procured our good, as also of blameless Esther, which he wanted to wipe out also because she's a Jew, she's an Israelite,
Right.
partaker of our kingdom with their whole nation, to wipe out the Jews.
He was trying to do it a slick way.
Yeah, because he has the king authority and he probably had the king's stamp to do it too.
Right. But what,
Verse 14.
what happened with Mordecai that made him in favor with the king?
No, Mordecai, he got a place, with the king to be like the king right-hand man.
He saved the king's life.
Yeah, he saved the king because he said, remember when we read that? He was on his bed saying, what should be done for Mordecai?
They tried to assassinate the king, and Mordecai told them.
Yeah, Mordecai heard it and told it.
it.
So they got those men to try to kill the king.
That's what they came here.
Mordecai heard about it and he told them.
Right. So, they appreciate that.
Right?
Yeah.
They appreciate that. That's right.
Verse 14, for by these means he thought, finding us destitute of friends, to have translated the kingdom of the Persians to the Macedonians. But we find that the Jews whom this wicked wretch had delivered to utter destruction are no evildoers, but live by most just laws. So the Jews that we're in captivity, we're not, evildoers, and we have just laws to live by. That wicked Haman wanted to wipe us out, because we're in captivity and we don't have any authority. So Queen Esther came into place to petition to the king to help us.
Right.
Verse 16. And that of the most high and most mighty living God, who had ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our protectors in the most excellent manner. Wherefore he shall do well not to put in execution the letter sent unto you by Haman, the son of Amadatha, Maratha. That's
Amata.
yeah.
Amata.
For he that was the worker of these things is hanged at the gate of Susa with all his family. God, who ruleth all things, speedily rendering vengeance to him according to his deserts.
Yeah.
Yeah. He fall by his own trap. I can picture him now.
He on the gallows.
I remember the movie back in the days. He says, hang him high.
Yeah.
Verse 19, therefore ye shall publish the copy of this letter in all places, that Jews may freely live after their. So give us, let us live according to our laws, because we're a different people. We're not under captivity, yes, but allow us, allow us, like, like they want to say here in America, or freedom of religion and things like that. So the most I you know, kind of allow Esau right now to give us some kind of allowance so we can practice some of our laws, that we don't get caught up in their religion or their laws, We're able to keep our feast days, this Passover and able to, beg the most, beg the most to help us so we can have our feast days. Otherwise, we couldn't have like a big Passover here, there, and Easter would be all over us. And so give us that, appeasement, because we have our own laws, and that's how we live by our own laws. Verse 20, and he shall aid them that even the same day, being the 13th day of the 12th month Adar, they may be avenged on them who in the same uh, who in the time of their affliction shall set upon them. For Almighty God had turned to joy unto them the day wherein the chosen people should have perished. So while saying about what if Haman execution went out, then we would have perished. But through the hand of the Most High, with Esther being in that position as a queen, is able to appease to the king to help us to stop this decree. So don't wipe us out. Verse 22, he shall therefore among you your solemn feast keep it and high day with all feasting, that both now and hereafter there may be safety to us and the well affected Persians, but to those which do conspire against us a memorial of destruction. So we're in captivity and you want to destroy us. So you have that hatred against us. Leave us alone. We're in captivity. Don't try to make it worse for us, Verse 24, therefore, every city and country whatsoever which shall not do according to these things shall be destroyed without mercy with fire and sword, and shall be made not only unpassable for men, but also most hateful to wild beasts and fowls forever. So we're going back to Esther. 16 to 24. We're going back to the 66 books. Esther chapter 8, verse 13. A copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies. So the decree going out to eradicate the Jews, so we have to prepare ourselves to fight. You know, we're not going to just lay back and let them try to kill us. You know, we have to fight. So the post that rode upon mules and camels went out being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment. So the king set his commandment out, and the decree was given at Shushan the palace. Verse 15, and Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor, and in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commanded, the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day, and many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. So they don't want to link up to us. They don't want to be us, so they can't be us, but they want to celebrate in the festivity with us, you know. So they became Jews. So they became, you know, with our festivity and want to join with us.
Change their ways.
Yeah, they want to, because they see us with joy and gladness and things like that, and you know, they want to be like us. Verse 9, now in the 12th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution in the day of the enemies of the Jews, hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people. So because they prepared to fight back, so the fear of them fell upon the people, so they couldn't destroy us. And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies, the officers of the king helped the Jews. So we got help. You know, they helped us because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword and slaughter. So we had to fight. We had to fight them back. We're going to lay down and die like that. We had to fight. And destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. And in Shushan, the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. And Parshan, Datha, and Dalphon, and Aspatha, and Poratha, and Adaliah, and Aridatha, and Parmashta, Risai, Arida, and Vazezatha. The 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they. So they slew Haman's 10 sons. So this, yeah, he had 10 sons.
Those were the 10 sons you just read?
Yeah, there's 10 sons. Or they kill him, Haman, and kill his 10 sons. But on the spoils laid they not their hands. On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan the palace was brought before the king, and the king sent unto Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed hundred men in Shushan the palace, and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Know what is thy petition, and it shall be granted thee, or what is thy request further, and it shall be done. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according to this day decree, and let Haman 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. And the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan, but on the prey they laid not their hand. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, had to fight for their lives, and had rest from their enemies because they had to fight, and slew of their foe 75,000, but they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. There was a feasting of gladness, for the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same, they rested and made it a day of feasting and gladness. So it's a day of feasting and gladness, Purim. Therefore, the Jews of the, yeah, because we have to fight, protect our lives, the women and children. We have to fight because Haman sent a decree out, and the king had to,
Even though Haman was dead, he still sent a decree.
yeah, that decree had stood the test. I stood that it still had to be executed. Therefore, the Jews,
They still have power, huh?
yeah, therefore the Jews of the villages
Had to fight.
that dwell in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and of sending portions one to another. So they send portions, to one another. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned into them from sorrow to joy, so they had to fight and they prevail over the enemies, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews, had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast pur, that is the lot, to consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that this wicked device which he devised against the Jews should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Wherefore they call these days Purim. As we celebrate, Purim now, after the name of Therefore, for all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them. The Jews ordained and took upon them and upon their seed and upon all such as joined themselves unto them. So they said, make themselves Jews. They want to join with us, so as it should not fail that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing and according to their appointed time every year. So yeah, so every year is a 2-day feast, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, which is us, this is our holy day, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jews, wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim, and he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus with words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim in their time appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matter of the fasting and their cries. So they had fast, like Esther had fast and crying, and Mordecai had fast, was in sackcloth and ashes, because the plight of our people. Verse 32, and the decree of Esther confirmed these matter of Purim, and it was written in the books. It was written in the book. And the king Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power, of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai, whereunto the king advanced him, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? So it's written, written in their books. Yeah. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed. So now we're going back to the Apocrypha, Esther 10:4.
There's a great fasting there for Purim, for what Mordecai did.
Mordecai and Esther put together, to think about their people. Yeah, to fast and pray and fight for your people.
Right. That's what we celebrate
That's what we're celebrating is a 2-day feasting, and to send gifts to the poor of our people. 10 and 4. So going back to the Apocrypha now, page 55. Then Mordecai said, God had done these things, for I remember a dream which I saw concerning these matters, and nothing thereof had failed. A little fountain became a river, and there was light, and the sun, and much water. This river is Esther, whom the king married and made queen. So she was, according to, an average, sister there, and Mordecai was taking care of her and things like that. And she became, a little fountain became a river, and became, great in the sight of our people. She became a queen. Page 55. Yeah.
Okay.
Verse 7, and the two dragons are High and Amen. So the two dragons, sometimes you see, dragon, like for in Revelation you see that, but he say is him and Amen. So they're at odds with each other, as if they're two dragons. Verse 8, and the nations were those that were assembled to destroy the name of the Jews, and my nation is this Israel, which cried to God and were saved. For the Lord had saved his people, and the Lord had delivered us from all those evil, and God had wrought signs and great wonders, which have not been done among the Gentiles. So what the Most have done for us and things like that, Exodus and miracles and great wonders and everything. The Most High didn't do this for the Gentiles. He did it for us. Yeah. Therefore had he made two lots, one for the people of God and another for all the Gentiles. And these two lots came at the hour and time and day of judgment before God among all nations. So God remembered his people, Israel, his people, always be his people, and justified his inheritance. So Israel, the Most High inheritance, is Israel. Therefore, those days shall be unto them in the month Adar, the 14th and 15th day of the same month, with an assembly and joy and with gladness before God among to the generations forever among his people. And chapter 11 now.
Yeah,
Mm.
the month of Purim always falls on the month of February.
No, when you think about the lunar calendar,
Oh, it's like calendar.
yeah, with the lunar calendar,
It falls on the dark.
yeah,
When the dark comes in that month. The dark comes in that month.
with the
That's
lunar
when Purim
calendar,
comes.
I should.
The 14th and 15th day, or sometimes it won't be there.
We're in. Hold on one second.
Sometimes it won't be
Let me get right to it.
there.
So we're in the 12th month. So the new moon was the 14th.
Mhm.
So when you're in the 12th month, if you had the new moon on the 14th, so the 14th and 15th day of the 12th month
Right.
is Purim.
Correct.
Is always in the 12th month.
So any 12 months, the rim will fall on that month of the 12th month.
Yes, in the 12th month.
On top.
Yeah.
This time it fell on the how many days does
Yeah,
it fall?
it's always in the 12th month. But when you count when you count the days and everything, it falls around the 14th, 15th day.
So that'd be the day after the new moon.
So it's like when you have like the Passover is at the 14th, 15th day, the first month. So the Purim is always in the 12th month. Chapter 11, verse 1. In the 4th year of the reign of Ptolemais and Cleopatra, Dositus, who said he was a priest, hold on one second. Let me see. When you read Esther, go back to when you read Esther 3 and 7, in the first month, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast her.
You say you read Esther 3 and 7?
Yeah, it says here, when you read, it says, until the 12th month, this is the month Adar. Okay, when you read Esther 3 and 7.
That's in the Bible.
Yes, yeah, in the Bible, in the 66 books. In the book of Esther, not in Apocrypha.
Right.
Yeah, it says it right here.
Yeah.
The first month is Nisan. Nisan. And the 12th month, Adar. It's always in the 12th month.
Okay.
Okay. Let me go back to chapter 11, verse 1. In the 4th year of the reign of Ptolemaeus and Cleopatra, the Citurus, who said he was a priest and Levite, and Ptolemaeus' son brought this epistle of Purim, which they said was the same, and this Lysimachus, the son of Ptolemaeus, that was in Jerusalem, had interpreted it. Okay, so that's the reading of, Esther, big figure, King Ahasuerus, Esther, Mordecai, Haman,
Right.
his 10 sons and his wife, Zeresh,
Yeah.
and declaration, who want to wipe out our people, so we had to, fast and pray. Yes, so I've seen, YouTube videos of other schools that celebrating the Purim also, they do a lot of decoration and feasting for Purim. So that concludes Purim, or to say Mordecai's day.
So I give you a better understanding about whatever.
Yeah. So the big, Esther, King Ahasuerus, Vashti, Mordecai, Hadassah, which is Esther, Haman, and the Persians and the Medes. All right. Shalom, Israel. Happy day of Purim, Mordecai's day, which are Benjamin. I make myself, but you have all, sometimes, I mean, we all as Israel, we look out for one another and we love our nation. We love our nation and we don't want to see our nation perish because, the Most I love us. The Most I put us in a state because we broke his law, statutes, and commandment. So we're here in captivity and we try to make the best of it. All right. Well, Shalom for the closing prayers. We get the blinds, please. Shalom, Israel. Happy Purim.
Happy Purim. Shalom.
Shalom.
Thanks, he's absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Barakata Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Harya Hagapan, the water Aman, La, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Yasha Allah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that give to us the fruit of the vine. Thank you, so be it to Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai with Israel. I Madwa, Panya, Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Bahasham,
Bahasham.
Yahushai,
Yahushua.
Babakashah,
Babashah.
Shammai,
Shammai.
Lanawa,
Lanao.
Isa,
Aitha.
Yum Yun,
Yum Yum.
Isa,
Aitha.
Shalak,
Shalak.
Maraka Allah,
Michael Allah.
Wataz, Waha Alahayam,
Walahayim.
Tazodakiam,
Tazudaki.
La,
La.
Shamar Ayam,
Shamai.
Barak,
Barak.
Rapah,
Wapa.
Magan,
Magan.
Wakazayak,
Wakazayak.
Banya,
Banya.
Yasha Allah,
Yasha Allah.
Washalak,
Washalak.
Lanawa,
Lanao.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Hakama,
Kakama.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Da'ai,
Ai.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Bayana,
Bayana.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Sabalamwat,
Sabalamba.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Amawan,
Abawan.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Aqua,
Aqua.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Ahabiam,
Ahabi.
Rabiam,
Rabi.
Rakanaya,
Bakazaya.
Hagana,
Hagana.
Wasalat,
Wasalak.
Kal,
Oh.
Katayamnawa,
Katayana.
Lawarakiam,
Aki.
Weasha'ala,
Washa Allah.
Thamyad,
Ramya.
Waiwalam,
Waiwalam.
Basham,
Baisham.
Yahawashai,
Yahushua.
Tawada,
Water.
Aman.
Aman.
Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please listen to us. Now, right now, send Michael and the righteous power angel to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. Send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive all our sins for the brothers and Israel, always and forever, in the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. The four corner prayers. Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Bahasham,
Baisham.
Yahushai,
Yahushua.
Barak Nawa,
Rakana.
Weasharala,
Washa Allah.
Wabati Saporim,
Bakasporim.
Shalman,
Shema,
Yasharella,
Yasharella,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Alahainawa,
Alahainawa,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Akkad.
Akkad.
Shalom Israel, happy Purim.
Shalom, Israel, happy Purim.
Shalom, you do have it for
Happy Purim.